Good afternoon and warm welcome, everyone. I'm so glad to see you today at much awaited Second English Language Expo 2022. I'm Fozia Hafeez, a teacher and a trainer from Mansara. Currently, I'm lecturer at Public University of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and from last 7 years, I'm actively participating in RELO Pakistan programs, which not only help me in my professional growth, but it also helped to uplift my community teachers by sharing experience and cascading ideas which I learned through those programs like the Open Mentorship Program of 2020. It's MOOC facilitated courses, live webinars, English live series, international conference, and many others. And I feel proud that these programs inspired many teachers of my community and that they started striving to become part of this organization. And some of them got an opportunity through Open Global Online course, which is known as GOC. And I think it's the way how we can together make a chain of well-trained teachers to bring positive change in our educational world. As today, we all gather here to discuss ideas that how can we facilitate and empower English language community so they become also the source of inspiration for their students. So, and they should inspire to become a teacher by spreading awareness and creating universal values for all genders equally. To support my vision, I choose the topic women education as a mean to bridge global education system. I think it's a topic which will help us to reflect that how a women leader as a global teacher can contribute positively and create a resourceful world for all students around the globe. I, along with my co-presenter Deepak Kumar, is going to give a bit introduction of what actually is global education system, its process, like dimensions, importance of educated women, its change of teacher status quo from community teachers to global teacher, and our efforts as a teacher to globalized world of learning. To proceed further, I would like to call my co-presenter Deepak Kumar to start with the introduction. Over to you, Deepak.
Thank you, Fozia. My name is Deepak Kumar and I'm serving as secondary school teacher at Government of Balochistan. The topic has Fozia has introduced women education as a mean to bridge global education system. Is one of the topic that is most important in our society to be discussed. It just keeps the significance for women education as well, because 50% of the population when doesn't work and doesn't cope up with the shoulders of the male, they cannot come up with the boost up economy, they cannot a country. But before I started, what the global education is, any one of you just can participate in the chat box we are on. What do you think global education is? That's great. Many of you have participated and different people have given superb ideas what global education is. Global education has a necessity for everybody in response to a variety of events which affects humanity one way or other, including resources shortage, the population explosion, the environmental crisis and arms competition, the influx of refugees, terrorism, human rights, and so on. Global education, it focuses on the fact that all human beings are involved in a diversity of world systems and institutions. As consumers, maybe workers, investors, members of the religious organizations, ethnic communities, patrons of the culture, and so on. Global education actually connects the people. Global education just stops the barriers of the borders to connect one person to the other, to connect one person, one individual of a country to the other. Emphasizes more on learning to live together by developing one's own potential while successfully managing relationships with others. And globalization has created this need to develop global education system for interconnected world to share resources and knowledge for better future. Next. And you know that global education connects the people. But how is this process continued? How is this gone through? The very first step is awareness. If you are not aware, if you are not willing, if you don't know about something, if you don't have the knowledge about something, if you don't have the information about something, you cannot go on. First of all, the first thing that you have to know is the information about something. And then the second step comes, that is understanding of what the global education is. And thirdly, how critically we can reflect this, which will carry on with the informed actions, sustainable change in the society. This process is continued like the Bloom taxonomy, which has 6 steps in the cognitive domain, which includes the information. If someone doesn't have the information, it cannot proceed to the understanding. And if someone has the understanding, then he can proceed to the application of it. And if someone has the application, then he can go towards the analyzing it. And then critical evaluation. And last thing is the synthesis. Of course, something when you analyze, if you find defects in, if you find something to be changed and renovated, you can do it. The global education process is continued like this. Next. Dimensions of global education system. What are the dimensions of global education system? Everyone knows that global education is the cornerstone of the progress, as world learners focus more on experiential learning, leadership development, inclusion and innovation to ensure we take everyone along with us by overcoming all obstacles, all barriers, such as poverty, conflict, gender inequality, language, and many more. In basic education programming, emphasis will be strengthened. 4 key players are there. The very first player is teachers, of course. Without teachers, you cannot build the dimension of the global education system. And then, of course, the second stage, which is superior to the teachers, of course, the administration. Until and unless administration wants, the teachers cannot connect one person to the other, especially in one country to the other. Administrations are the second steps. And the third one, of course, on the administrators, there is a government. How something runs, government's plans are there. 5-year education plan to introduce the technology into the classrooms and to connect the people globally, especially in the education system. And then comes the community, which has the right to vote and which has the right to decide what is good for them, how they can connect to the people, how can they compete along with the world. These representatives are the stakeholders from different world states can pursue lasting change to the educational system together, united, not alone. Therefore, the global education is, the basic purpose of global education is to connect the system together. And we know more than 60% of females belong to the educational field, which will have huge impact on policy making process if it works, if it is connected, because we have left them outside the mainstream. We will have to bring them in. Inclusion of all genders, especially female, in policy making process, with more emphasis on a single curriculum, which meets the needs of all gender, not only the male. In male dominated society, it's of course not focused. And you know that change of teacher status from local community to international is very important. Global change starts with the teacher itself, to nurture the mind of the youth to be aware and active in the local and all global issues, to bring about change and to achieve a just and attainable future for all. Children are just the problem solvers, you know, has, according to the Howard Gardner, multiple intelligence theory suits it here, that until and unless you have known their multiple intelligence, you cannot call them their best. And you know, every child is a problem solver of tomorrow. It envisions a world in which all children have access to the high quality education that empowers them to become leaders. As global education implies methodological approach, which an aim that children are problem solvers of tomorrow and future of whole world, so they should be benefited with experimental learning techniques, irrespective of their identity, and have right to get education from global teacher. Today, globalized world need a skillful teacher who is well aided, well equipped with universal values to teach students with both time-tested and modern technologies in education system within the classroom or any part of the world. Next. And you know what the pathways are? There are many ways to help girls realize their full potential through education. And all teachers, training institutions at national and international level should collaborate to ensure better performing of the teachers, of course. Community level programs to encourage girls' education, scholarship schemes to address the issues that they are having, especially because of the poverty. Upgrade teachers' skills, give them training, give them exchange programs, and provide gender sensitive trainings. Introduction of bilingual programs is one of the brightest idea for inclusion of the females in education system, especially if you are thinking it on the global level as a mean to connect them. Social education for adult women can be by keeping social sciences at the top of the understanding of culture, history, and geography of the world. It will be easy to interact with. Pre-recorded videos can be shown, lessons can be, and so on. And then we go to next slide. And that is way to go for global economy. You must know that Pakistan has the agenda to compete with the world and to find all what we have planned. The education system to connect it globally is one of the sustainable development goals which Pakistan has promised to the world to be accomplished in 2023. The education system that the agenda of 2030 ensures that girls and boys, women, men not only gain access to the complete education cycles, but are empowered equally in and through education, and focuses on the education-wide transformation to benefit all learners equally. And much of the research around women education highlights that expanding education opportunities for all and more if our girls can stimulate productivity. If they can participate, your economy will be boosted up and it will grow, it will progress. You will have the value of your currency. And which in return will also reduce the economic vulnerability of poor falls out. The women who cannot go out and work, they can have a job, they can have an earning to find a help for their male shoulder if they are connected to the education. And next is the challenges for 21st century of women. This will be presented by my presenter, Fozia Hafeez. Over to you, Fozia. Yes, over to you, Fozia.
Thank you, Deepak, for such an insightful introduction of global education system and highlighting certain techniques to strengthen the concept. So now you all got an idea that what is global education system. Let us see that what are challenges which 21st century women is facing to get education. We all know that this world consists of communities with diverse cultural and social values. And in light of this, their challenges are also diverse, but some basic challenges are same everywhere, like in every part of the world. But if we talk about rural communities, where either due to economic condition or cultural reasons, girls are not allowed to continue their education. On the other hand, not only early marriage is a burning issue, but most of the time, post-marriage constraints are also there. Like after marriage, girls are forced to leave their education, are not allowed to continue with their professional life. This is all happening because of a less exposure in rural communities regarding importance of girls' education, along with passive role played by untrained female teachers. Besides that, co-education is another hindrance in our society. I must say where culture has more influence, and sometimes it become hurdle in way of girls' right to get education. And I think you must also agree with me that to overcome it, we need to build girls' schools with trained staff in such areas to support girls in their right to get education. In the next slide, we are going to discuss that how do I start as a teacher to become a global teacher? This is a question from all of you. And I want you to write in a chat box that how will you aspire to become global teacher? Because I know here all of us belong to teaching a profession, and we must have set some short and long-term goals for our professional life, for our professional development. So multiple ideas and suggestions will be there on your part, which will add more information to it. As far as I'm concerned, I think I believe teacher who is not just limited to his schedule duty hours, but she also get involved in community by sharing cultural stories to motivate students, parents, and community members and exchange ideas by listening their stance on certain matter and mold it according to the need of time and also their need and her own need. And such teachers can play more effective and productive role and has better chances of becoming global teacher, because in the end our main purpose is to build global classroom. It's not only one teacher, but all of those with high spirit wants to serve all students equally. Secondly, there are other ways to influence people, like a community well-trained teacher can invite a guest speaker, both at national and international level also, and personalities also, to create awareness in community regarding need of cross-border education. Besides that, she can initiate different projects with another school, along with exchange programs among rural and urban institutions. With help of any international organization, they can together establish a sister school in another village, city, or it could be a country, just to spread the cause of humanity by serving all students equally. Besides that, she can create projects and conduct research with help of students from different countries and also cities and villages, and our focus will be more on the villages. And above all, her role as a teacher will be appreciated more if she participate and learn through globally focused service projects and contribute in designing globally focused extracurricular activities by reinforcing it in her own community. In the next slide, we are going to discuss that what is the role of community teacher in bridging the gap. Like at what level community teacher can bridge the gap and make it a globalized learning environment. Question is that how at individual level teacher, like if I'm working at a specific community, so how can I inspire others to become a teacher? For me, teacher is someone who is most influential personality in any society, because at same time he or she interacts with all patrons of society, like parents, administrators, students, policymakers, and she can also at international community through different professional development courses and programs, and by arranging awareness seminars, workshops about importance of girls education. And on other hand, at group level, like the group level, what a teacher, community teacher can do, she or he can promote volunteerism, I think this is missing in our society. If I talk about Pakistani society, and she can or he can do by educating those girls who are uneducated due to some or other reason. And in this regard, retired government women teachers can easily influence community members and motivate them to send their daughters to school. On other hand, social activists are most influential. If I talk that who is at the number second in the list, it must be the social activist, and they can also contribute by arranging training programs with help of any organization, or can open schools in rural areas for the girls especially. And then further, in next slide, I want to discuss about opportunities for Pakistani women, particularly for Pakistani women, because I also belong to this society. Here are different opportunities, both at national and international level, to overcome above mentioned challenges, which I discussed in detail. First one will be cooperation between private and government sector is crucial, is also increasing as they sign collaborative projects for providing training, especially with higher education sector, like when English Works program in Benazir Bhutto Women University Peshawar, and many others like this to facilitate not only the teachers, but also students through virtual programs. At government level, different countries introduce single curriculum for all to eliminate class difference from society. Then internationally funded programs are there, like American Resource Centers and RELO have trained many teachers around the globe and have given broader perspective and hope to become a global teacher. And the best example is a participation of many alumni here as presented, and participants who open ways for others to be a part of this learning community. While UNESCO's project of science and technology also encourage young girls to utilize their full potentials. And community development programs organized by USAID and other agencies during COVID was really, really encouraging, as they provided gadgets to underprivileged community, which helped them to have access to virtual teaching. There are also different scholarships and exchange programs for girls to make sure their presence in research fields, because research fields girls hesitant to enter, especially regarding education. If we talk about the global education system, we hardly find any girl from Pakistani community. Like there are the programs like YES program is there, to scholarships and many others. And due to such programs, we can see positive change in regarding women education in our society. Now let us see what role social media is playing in a globalized world to change the mindset of people. Like in this slide, you can see social media has a tool to change the mindset of people. In the next slide, I'm showing you the picture where that picture is from the American corners, where teachers from different backgrounds are sitting together and creating the activities. But here, first we will discuss social media as a tool to change mindset. When we talk about integrated classroom, then the need of social media apps like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, particularly, and other digital learning tools like Zoom, Flipgrid, etc., is very, very important for sharing ideas and getting online education, which is the need of global classroom, and will not only facilitate underprivileged community who otherwise don't have access to these resources due to economic constraints or sometimes due to exposure. But in global classroom, it's the basic environment. Besides that, to spread awareness about importance of global teaching, American aid and other organizations provided enough resources to underprivileged communities and particularly to girls students. Now in the next slide, you can see in this picture, teachers workshops in one of American Teaching Corner, where they are creating activity by sharing ideas. While in other picture, you can see Open Alumni has an instructor to facilitate English Works program organized by RELO, which is in fact a great opportunity for Open Pakistan Alumni Network and their fellow teachers. Along with that, there are many such training programs organized in Teachers Corner by American Resource Center and also British Council for English language learners. So they can learn how to use social media apps to share ideas, find resources, and connect with other educators and language learners. In the next, it is about professional development programs, which is to upgrade teaching community with, on the next slide, we can see that there are, I'll show you that how they conduct different programs, but not only in English language, but also in the Urdu language, for the Urdu language, upgradation of the Urdu language as well. So it is just to upgrade teaching community with 21st century skills. Various measures has been taken by national and international organization. And in this regard, RELO is playing an active role through different professional development programs for ELT community, like AE Teacher Live Series, as I discussed above, that there's program like English Access Micro Scholarship programs are there, English Works program are there. On the other hand, Women's History Month is celebrated in March with special activities in school, workplaces and communities to ensure their participation is more effective than their counterpart, as it's in the mother and teacher's hand how they together shape the personality of a child. There are webinars like promoting gender equality in the English language classroom, which help teachers to explore techniques and encourage establishment of globally focused learning styles for all genders. Then here in this slide, next in this picture, you can see there are the workshops for the language teaching community. In the first picture, it's Open Pakistan Talim o Tadris workshop for Urdu language teacher, where well-renowned and experienced Pakistani teachers share their learning and latest techniques like how to make it more interesting and engaging for students to learn Urdu. In this month, like in I think 1st or 11th or 12th of the January, they organized Urdu conference as part of their project to empower Urdu development, and like it was the part of their project, empowering development and growth through evolution. In other picture, you can see how students interact in healthy environment by sharing their ideas and using digital tools to enhance learning process. While next you can see a globe. I want you to hear, I need your full attention. Like in this slide, I need your full attention to observe this globe and write in the chat box what message you get from it. There are different aspects of this globe, and I need your views and comments to discuss how you perceived, like how you perceive that what it gives you a message. So write here and then make it more interesting by sharing your ideas. Well, when I was making this globe, there was only one thing in my mind, and that was which point will be most important and should be kept at the top of the list. Then I reflected and realized that in today's world, we need just to learn how to live together, because without this, we cannot achieve success. Because success in any field needs learning how to live together. So it's so its central theme of this globe that only educated, well-trained women teacher with high spirit and high motivation can unite the humanity and overcome those challenges which a global community is facing. Then in the next slide, I want to conclude with the same message. Now, I would like to conclude this presentation with this statement that global women teacher can change the world. So without educating her and making them an aspirant to become teacher, we cannot claim to change it. Next, in the next slide, I want to show you the video. The basic theme of that video is global teacher leaders can only empower girls with education. So let's watch together and share your feedback in the chat box.
The Teaching Excellence and Achievement Program is an intensive professional development program that provides international secondary teachers with unique opportunities to collaboratively create a framework for understanding what teacher leadership is in their diverse contexts. They focus on gender equity as girls' empowerment. That is because in most of their countries, girls are the ones who have experienced educational inequity.
Girls in the Islamic schools, quality education is very poor. So I started work with the Islamic schools. We have been working with the girls, empowering them in the community by providing training and soft skills.
The teachers need to first change their attitude. If you accept the learners, especially our girls, and to focus on their future, we need to have our attitude, our opinions, our stereotyping that we're having towards girls. We need to change that.
The T program affords these teachers the opportunity to further develop techniques for promoting gender equity in their classrooms, their schools, and their communities. And this is particularly important given that globally, over 62 million girls are not in schools, and millions more are fighting to actually stay there.
They want to stay in the school. The girls are ready to learn if we can create for them a sound environment.
The girls are changing. They are becoming stronger than the girls in the past. And they are starting to make the people hear what they say.
So you must have seen that teachers are struggling everywhere, and they are trying hard to make this world a better place for the women. In case, in the next slide, I have given all the links, and also if you have any queries, comments, suggestion, you can share in the chat box, and I would love to respond. And here these are the links, and in case you need further information about these programs, you can visit